MSNBC recently used an incredibly unreliable and invalid poll to suggest that Joe Biden is the best Democrat to run against Donald Trump. Now, first I want to show you guys this segment, and then I'm going to show you guys Emerson's website, the polling website, and show you guys their methodology and explain to you why their methodology is so insanely bad. Take a look at the video first. Here we go.
States that matter most, of course, in 2020 are most likely going to be Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida. But we have new polling out from the upper industrial states, upper Midwest industrial states. And it looks like the president's upside down in all of those states.
Well, and these are states, obviously, that were pivotal to his electoral college victory. And the new Emerson poll out of Iowa shows President Trump down in a state he won nearly 10 points by in 2016, trailing Joe Biden by 6 points and down 2 points to Bernie Sanders. While in Michigan, Trump is 8 points behind Biden and 6 points to Amy Klobuchar and trailing Sanders, Kamala Harris, and Elizabeth Warren. And a recent Emerson poll in Wisconsin shows Trump losing to Biden by 8 points while down 4 points against each Sanders and Warren, and even trailing Beto O'Rourke by 2 points. Claire McCaskill.
So I want to explain to you guys why this polling is just so wrong. First off, you have to understand what makes a good poll. Typically, a good poll will look at likely voters. Now, the question to beg is, what is a likely voter? And Emerson Polling did a terrible job at creating this definition. I want to actually go to Emerson Polling's website and show you guys how messed up their methodology is in this poll. Take a look at this this website from emersonpolling.reportablenews.com. This is their methodology. They have it right here. I'm going to skip all the math section and just explain this portion right here. The data was weighted based on 2016 voter model, age, gender, and region. Oh my gosh. So, first off, I need to explain something. I want to give myself a little bit of credibility because you need to understand that I'm not just talking out of my butt here. I am a university math instructor. I can tell you what a good poll looks like. This is not a good poll because it's assuming that the likely voters of the 2020 election are the same voters that voted in the 2016 election. So I guarantee you one of the questions that Emerson Polling asked was, did you vote in 2016? And then they asked like your age, your gender, and your region. That was probably most likely their questioning. So they define a likely voter as someone who voted in 2016. Here's the problem though, guys. The people who voted in 2016 either voted for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. There were so many people who didn't vote because they didn't have a reason to vote. Like the voter turnout was terrible. It was absolutely abysmal. And so what Emerson College is doing here, what Emerson Polling is doing here, is they're basically suggesting that if you didn't vote in 2016, you're not going to vote in 2020. Well, that's why Joe Biden's number one, you freaking morons. Of course, because anyone who voted for Hillary Clinton probably didn't understand, understand there's a couple things here. Let me explain myself in a second here. But the people who voted for Hillary Clinton are probably like the old neoliberals who didn't really understand who Hillary Clinton was and how corrupt she was. There were so many progressives that didn't vote for her, including myself at the time. And granted, I understand why that's naive, and I'll explain that in a second. But there were a lot of progressives that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton and also didn't vote for Donald Trump. In many cases, independents voted for Donald Trump because, well, Hillary Clinton was terrible. And so the voter turnout, all the voters that were supposed to vote for Bernie Sanders ended up not voting. And so if you don't include those people in your poll, Bernie Sanders is going to go way down in your data. Like, this is a freaking college, guys. Emerson College. You guys have to be smarter than this. Like, let me explain to you guys my methodology. It's super easy. Instead of doing 2016 voter models, you average the 2016 voter model with the 2012 voter model, with the 2008 voter model, all the way back to Reagan. That's your voter model. Maybe even if you want to take modern data, just go back to 2008. And I guarantee you guys, Bernie Sanders would be number one in a heartbeat. Gosh, I absolutely hate when polls do stuff like this. And this is partly the reason why the polls were wrong in 2016. Now, understand this. A lot of progressives have come out with reasons why the polling was wrong. And a lot of people said, well, it's because they greatly favored certain genders or whatever. No, like even Kyle Klinsky has been wrong on this issue. Let me explain to you guys why the 2016 polls were wrong. It's very simple. They used 2012 voter models. That's what happened. They used the 2012 voter model and not an average of the last 5 elections. So when you go to methodologies, understand that they're not going to tell you oh, we greatly favored women, or oh, we greatly favored blacks, or oh, we try to make this equal, or anything like that. They're not going to do that, because every poll is going to suggest, every good poll, and all the ones that were popular at the time in 2016, 2015, they all suggested that they used likely voters in their data. And so the question is begged, what is a likely voter? And they just used the 2012 model or 2008 model at the time. Almost all of them used strictly the 2012 model. And so you had a lot of people voting for Barack Obama, a lot of progressives. And then what happened in 2016? Oh, the people who voted for Barack Obama ended up switching over to Donald Trump because of what happened in the second term. Because he was a terrible president, because things were falling apart, and because Hillary Clinton was offering the status quo. She was offering a conservatist, I think that's a word, agenda. So obviously the polls were wrong, but I'm showing you guys specifically, this is why you cannot believe the polls. If you ever see this, do not believe the polls. A likely voter is defined as anyone who has voted maybe in the last 5 elections. That is, in my view, a likely voter. Or maybe someone who's voted in 3 out of the 5 elections or 4 out of the 5 elections. But do not pick the last election where you had Trump versus Hillary Clinton, or else you are going to get a model that looks just like Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's not running, so who's the next person that looks like Hillary Clinton? Oh yeah, Joe Biden. What do you know? What do you know? Oh my goodness. So obviously I'm not surprised.